Today we start part B of module 3, more JavaScript features. First, part B.1, let us continue the JavaScript basics, but we do the part 2. All right. First, so let's look at this topic, JavaScript output, part 1. So when we use JavaScript features, sometimes we may like to generate some kind of JavaScript output. So there are several ways. So let's look at those simple ways. So later, for some special situations, we can use appropriate way to do some useful things. All right, so let us look at writing into an HTML element. HTML element. All right, so you have one, and we know we can put the content in a selected element, right? Now, if you need to do that, then here you can use the JavaScript to do it. All right, so let's take a look. To access an HTML element, a JavaScript can use this method. This one we used it before, right? Document. First, the document, we know it's an object. Document object. So this object contains all the information we need for the current HTML document. All right. Then we use the object-oriented features. So document dot, we call its method. Get element by ID, this method, but we need to pass ID of some element. Using the CSS, how do we select ID of an element, right? How do we, so you think about that. For any element, we can define a unique ID value for that element using ID attribute, right? ID attribute. So I think you know that. All right. So now you use the ID attribute value for the element you want to access. The element you want to access. All right. So you take it. All right. So then you can, here. You do this. So let me write. Let me write the complete statement. Because here it tells you you can do it, but you like to see the complete statement, right? Here, let me write it. All right. It is a little long, but let me write in smaller font. So document get element by ID. All right. Here, because ID, usually it's a string value, right? Here, let me use double quote, my ID. All right. Dot, dot. I do not have space, so let me write second line. But actually, if I have more space, I should put in one line. Right. Dot value attribute. Because when you have an element, you want to access its value. Right? So that's why we use this dot value. Okay? That dot value. All right. Equals your new content. Okay, here let me just put my new content. How about that? Right? My new content. In this way, you can write any new content to one particular element to replace its old content. Use new content, replace its old content. This simple way. Actually, this way is quite useful. Yeah, quite useful. All right, yeah. All right, so that is the first way to write something in using JavaScript. Second, yeah, I have to erase. Yeah, all right. Yeah, I just leave part of it. All right, yeah, I leave part of it. All right, so value equals double quotes new. Yeah, I just put new semicolon. How about that? All right, yeah. So yeah, writing into the HTML output. Yeah. Now another way you can write some information. Yeah, but this time not the content of a particular element. So this time, let's take a look. You write for the whole document. Yeah, that area for the whole because this way you do not access any element. That means the current document. Yeah, let me show you. For testing purpose, you know, testing, right? Debugging, yeah, testing purpose, yeah. In this situation, yeah, it is convenient to use document.write method. Document, the current document, the whole document, .write. Then you write something to your document. Okay, document.write, yeah. All right. Example, yeah. You in the script element, you call the statement write 5 plus 6, 5 plus 6, because this is arithmetic operation, 5 plus 6, 11. So what you will see, 11 is printed in the current document. Okay, yeah. All right, so this method, you can see it is mainly used for testing purpose or debugging. All right, yeah, debugging, yeah. Because sometimes in your JavaScript functions, you may like to know the values of some variables before later you use them. Yeah, because later when you use those variables, you realize the values could be wrong. So then at some special places, you want to view it. Yeah. So that is one typical situation people use this way. Yeah. Otherwise, if it's not that situation, yeah, do not use it. Okay, do not use it. Yeah, because you may get some result you do not like to have. Yeah, here let me explain that part. Using document.write method after an HTML document is loaded. Yeah, so you load the document, the content is there. After that, you put this line, document.write. Then it will delete all the existing, because overwrite, the existing content is replaced by this content. You may not like to do that, right? Yeah. But if you do earlier, then the content of the HTML is rendered, that's okay, right? So you put something after that, then you add a new content. So then it's okay. Yeah. But if it is the opposite way, you generate some content, but after that, this line overwrites the old content. Yeah. So that's the something you want to avoid. Yeah. All right, so note the document.write method should only be used for testing purpose. Testing, debugging, yeah. But not for generating the content. Yeah, so that's why people do not use it. Generate the content of HTML. Yeah. All right. But the thing is, debugging sometimes important, right? Yeah, sometimes it's important. Yeah, but debugging, there are several ways. So this is one of the multiple ways. The first way here. Yeah. Another way, many programmers like to use the second way. All right. Writing into an alert box. Yeah, many people like to write some information, data values, into an alert box for debugging purpose. Yeah, because pop-up window, alert box, a window pop-up shows some information. In that information, you can display intermediate data values for some variables, right? Yeah, so that's still, you can get information in debugging, testing. Yeah. All right, here, let's look at example. Yeah. The way we do it, yeah, you can use an alert box to display data this way. Window.alert method. Window, another object name. Yeah. You see document object name, right? Document object name. And there is a window object name. All right, so what's the relationship? Window higher than document. Okay, window, document below this window. All right, so later we will talk about, later we have a lecture talk about DOM, document object model. DOM, document object model. In that place, we will look at the structure. Yeah, tree structure representing document content. Yeah. And in that model, window highest root, right? So then below that root, document object. Below that document, that other elements. Yeah. So we will see in that place. But here, the window object we can use to call some method. Here, alert method. All right. Example, yeah. When we write JavaScript statement, window.alert parenthesis 5 plus 6, arithmetic 5 plus 6. You do not print 5 plus 6, you print the result of 5 plus 6, 11. So 11 is displayed in the pop-up alert box. Yeah, so you can dismiss it. Click OK. because OK to dismiss the window. Dismiss the alert box. All right. Yeah, all right. Next, you can skip the window keyword. That means you do not write window.alert, you just write alert. Yeah. But it is better to not skip. It is better to not skip. Because if you include, you know which object you are using. So that's also important, which object you are using. Yeah. So it's better, for better readability, to not skip it. Yeah. All right. Next. In JavaScript, the window object is the global scope object. Global. Yeah. So I just mentioned in the DOM model, document object model, the highest, the root, right? So that's why it is a global scope object. Covers everything. Global. Yeah. That means the variables, properties, methods by default belong to window object. Yeah, that's the reason you can skip window object, right? But when you skip, you call a method, this method belongs to what object? People may ask, right? The global object. So what is the global object? This window object is the global object. Yeah. All right, so you just understand that relationship. Next, JavaScript output part 2, writing into the browser console. Here, the third debugging method. Number 1, document.write, right? Number 2, window.alert. Number 3, this one. Writing into browser console. Some programmers, many programmers, they like to use this way. So let's look at it. All right. For debugging purpose, right? You can call console.log method to display console.log. Okay, console. The browser will use some area, console area, to display the information you put there. So that's for the debugging purpose. Our third debugging method. All right. To display data. All right. So then another output way, you can call the window.print method in the browser to print the content of the current window. Current window, current page, right? Current page. So the example, how do we do it? We do it this way. Suppose we have a button. When we click it, then we print this page, the current page, the content of the current page, for example. All right? Button. All right. So the button on click, the event. On click event. You click the button, this event is triggered. All right. When the event is triggered, this method is called window.print. Print what? Print this page. Print this page. Print the content of the current window. All right. So that is another way. But it is rarely used. Although we know we can do things like this, but it is rarely used. Mainly the previous 3 methods, they are very useful because for the debugging purpose, right? Otherwise, why we need to use those methods? Debugging purpose. All right. So next, JavaScript statements. Some basic rules for JavaScript statements. First, JavaScript statements are composed of values, operators, expressions, keywords, and comments. This part very similar to Java. We know when we learned the history of JavaScript, I explained a lot of basic features borrowed from Java. So this part, you can see typically the Java syntax used here. All right. Semicolons separate JavaScript statements. And the rule for semicolons, when separated by semicolons, multiple statements on one line are allowed. Because there is no confusion. In this example, you can see this line, there are 3 JavaScript statements separated by semicolons. Although usually for better coding style, so people do not rarely use this way. Although you can use, but most programmers, so they like to use one one line, at the most one statement. Yeah. All right. But this is perfectly fine. Yeah. All right. Next, but there is something special here in JavaScript. Yeah. Ending statements with semicolon is not required. It's optional, not required. That means you can skip semicolons. Yeah. But highly recommended. Why? For readability, for better readability. Otherwise, if some other programmers maintain your code, when they read the JavaScript statements without semicolons, they do not like it. Yeah, so they may get confused. They may get confused. So that's why it's not a good style. Yeah. But why you can skip semicolons? Because JavaScript has some feature called automatic semicolon insertion. So the programmer skips semicolons, but the JavaScript interpreter smart enough to insert semicolons when necessary. Yeah. Although some programmers like to take advantage of that feature, but try to avoid that. Try to avoid that for readability. Yeah. For other programmers understanding your code well, for that purpose, yeah, you should not skip semicolons. All right, yeah. Next, white space. JavaScript white space. Yeah. JavaScript ignores multiple white spaces. Yeah, so just like HTML, skipping white spaces, multiple white spaces. Yeah. But white space useful for styling, coding, the style of the code. Right? You can add a white space to your script to make it more readable. So here you can see, for better readability, programmers like to use spaces to separate different variables, values, operators, all those things. Yeah, to make the statement more readable. Yeah. A good practice is to put spaces around operators. Otherwise, you put everything together, it's very hard to read. Okay, so you put some space characters, so then make your eyes feel more comfortable. Yeah, so that's the main reason. Yeah. All right. Yeah. A single statement may span multiple lines. Sometimes you may need to write a long statement. Yeah. So that's not good. So you may want to break it into pieces that span multiple lines. Yeah. But when you do that, try to break it in the right places. Try to break it in the right places. So the good way is like this. If a JavaScript statement does not fit on one line, the best place to break it is after an operator. After an operator. So something plus another big string that you put after the plus operator, you change to a new line, Yeah, so after an operator, that is better so people can understand. Although you break into many pieces, but programmers, usual programmers, they can connect them, treat multiple line segments as one whole statement. Yeah. All right. Next, JavaScript syntax about, several little things. First, comments. Comments, we need to put some comments. Yeah. Then, this part also borrowed from Java. Yeah. So the Java comments. Yeah. Double slash. So that's one. Double slash comment. Yeah. Another between slash star star slash, crossing, covering multiple lines. Yeah. All right. So next, identifiers. Also, the rules for identifiers also borrowed from Java. Yeah. The same as Java. Those of Java. Yeah. So let's go through quickly. Yeah. The first character must be a letter or an underscore or a dollar sign, right? So that's the Java way, right? Second, subsequent characters may be letters, digits, underscores, or dollar sign, also from Java, right? Yeah. Next, numbers are not allowed as the first character. Also the Java rule, right? Yeah. Yeah. Number 4, all JavaScript identifiers are case sensitive. Also the Java way. Yeah. So, all right. So that's our first video, B.1. Yeah. Next, we will learn more advanced JavaScript features. After we learn plenty of JavaScript features, then we will do our project number 2, containing 5 questions. Yeah. 5 questions, actually, some of them CSS are still, I like to practice CSS a little bit. Then JavaScript. Yeah. That's project 2. Yeah. Yeah, because we do not have much time, so project 3 I may like to make optional, yeah, for extra credit. Yeah, because some students, if you are too busy, so you may not find time to work on it. Yeah, but if you can squeeze some time, so you can work at least some of the questions to earn extra credit. Yeah. All right. Yeah, just a little more extra credit chances for you. Yeah. All right, so let me finish B.1 right here.